President Biden meets with Mexico's President Lopez Obrador later this morning. Senator Ted Cruz is with us. Mr. Senator, we hear that President Obrador has an anti-inflation plan for America. What's going on here, Senator?
Well, unfortunately, the Biden White House is in chaos. It's in crisis. And one of the consequences, we're seeing AMLO, the leader of Mexico, moving further and further left, moving more and more in an anti-American posture, and sadly driven there by Joe Biden. You know, it says something that when Donald Trump was president, AMLO was willing to work with the United States to secure our southern border. Now that Joe Biden is president, it is open borders, and that chaos that is inflicted on my home state of Texas and the entire country, it's continuing unabated because that's what the Biden White House wants.
Texas is returning illegal migrants to the port of entry. The White House doesn't like that. Texas is using its own people to staff the border, and the administration is suing them. Mr. Senator, the administration will do anything to keep that border open, right?
Sadly, that's the case. You know, we have never seen in our nation's history a president like Joe Biden, a president who utterly refuses to enforce the law. I was not a fan of Barack Obama's, and Barack Obama stretched the bounds of the law. But Barack Obama actually deported millions of illegal aliens. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have decided that they will not follow the law. We're seeing the highest rate of illegal immigration in decades. And I got to tell you, this weekend, I'm taking several senators down to the border once again to see firsthand what is happening, to see the chaos. The last time I took 19 senators down there the last time. We saw a dead body floating in the Rio Grande River. We saw children packed into the Joe Biden cages. We saw the consequences of crime and drugs and fentanyl and disease. And we saw the human misery of children who were physically and sexually assaulted by human traffickers. And the response from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is more of the same. In fact, Biden, in a year and a half as president, hasn't even been bothered to get down to the border to see firsthand the misery he's causing.
I don't understand why the administration refuses to do anything. Why do they keep the border open? I presume it's because they think they're going to get the Hispanic vote, and maybe they're placating their own left wing. But that's the only reason I can think of. It's a political disaster for the Democrats.
Well, I think it is a very craven political decision that they look at every illegal immigrant and they see a potential future Democrat voter. And I think many of them hope a potential illegal voter who votes and helps them win the election. I'll tell you one place it's backfiring horribly is in South Texas. I'll make a prediction here that I've made before. I think in November, South Texas is going to turn red. And that is historic. You know, we just saw Mayra Flores elected from a district that runs from just south of San Antonio all the way down to Brownsville, to the southern tip of Texas. It's a district that hasn't been represented by a Republican since 1871. And Mayra Flores, a Republican, an Hispanic woman, is now the sitting member of Congress. And I got to tell you, there are two other seats. I think we're going to come out of November with at least 2 and maybe 3 new members of Congress from South Texas, all Republicans, all Hispanic women. I'm supporting all 3 of them. And it's because nobody who sees the chaos, the suffering that is being caused by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, you can't defend it, and yet they refuse to change.
That would be historic. I've got 30 seconds. Could you tell us how you're trying to get the administration to clamp down on the intimidation of Supreme Court justices?
Well, I'm calling on Merrick Garland to follow the law. It is against federal law to protest at the home of a judge while a case is pending. And yet the left, Joe Biden from the White House, has been actively encouraging these protesters who are intimidating, who are threatening justices. We saw someone charged with attempted murder of Justice Kavanaugh, and yet Attorney General Merrick Garland refuses to enforce the law, refuses to prosecute the violent threats. The Democrats have decided mob violence furthers their political ends. It is an absolute affront to rule of law. It's dangerous, and it needs to stop.
Mr. Senator, always a pleasure, and thank you very much for being
sir.
with us, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir.